3, 2, 1, we're on. Hello everyone, interview number 5 of the Marine Talks. Today I have as a special guest Mr. Camden Howitt. Camden is one of the founders of Sustainable Coastlines, which is a New Zealand charity that is well known by making these huge beach cleanups, planting a lot of trees around the rivers and different parts of nature here in New Zealand, and also by giving input and educational meetings to people. Mm-hmm. So Camden, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure that you have some time here for the Marine Talks and for Sustainable Coastlines.
Absolutely.
How did you and possible other founders come up with the idea of building this whole Sustainable Coastlines charity?
Yeah, well, it's been a long journey, and it's been over 12 years or so now. But we, as New Zealanders, love our beaches, love our coastlines, love the ocean. Like a lot of listeners out there, I'm sure are the same. We love these places. And a very, very long time ago, 2006, my co-founder Sam Judd and I were in Mexico, in Mexico, surfing a lot on the west coast there, and started to see, some of the problems that could happen with the beaches that we loved. For myself, coming back from Mexico and seeing, New Zealand and with different eyes, I thought New Zealand was this clean, green, beautiful place. But actually, the reality was that coming back here, we have those same problems. We just have fewer people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my co-founder Sam had spent some time in the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador a couple of years later in 2008, and he was with some friends there surfing and started seeing a lot of rubbish washing up on those coastlines a long way away from civilization, really. And wanted to do something about it. So ran some huge cleanups, big collaborations with local fishermen, national parks officers, the local community, and realized how positive a thing it was to bring people together. And after that trip, he came back. I was working in advertising at the time. I wasn't really feeling like I was giving back to the world as much as I wanted to be. And Sam came back with the idea to start this up. I quit my job, and we launched the organization in April 2009.
Wow.
So it was really about wanting to give back to this place that gives us so much.
What would be the mission of Sustainable Coastlines at the moment now? 2020?
Yeah, 2020. So we've come a long way since those early days. And initially, we just cleaned up the beach. We just picked up rubbish off the beach and went back and back and back and kept doing it. And what we found, though, was that as you clean up the beach and you go back to the same beach and find it covered in rubbish again, you realize that we need to be part of a bigger solution. So we started running a lot of work in education, a lot of work to try to prevent the problem in the first place, and then realized that communities needed to have these skills themselves. So we did a lot of work in training, capacity development, trying to pass on the skills that we'd learned and running large events and running a lot of education, and pass those on to communities. So our mission has developed along the way from simply starting, cleaning up, to moving into education, and then moving into, enabling others. And so our mission now is to enable people to look after the waterways and coastlines they love. So it's really that word enabling that's important. It's
enabling,
teaching others, training others, and inspiring them, empowering them to make as big of a difference they can in their own local community. And that's our mission.
Okay, and that's for you, for the viewers, that's a very good point that we have been also hearing in different interviews, which is so important. The science is there, the conservation is there, but how do we engage we, like the people, right? He's an expert in this topic, there are other experts, but we need all of them, all the people.
Yeah, we need to work together, right?
Work together.
Band together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's 3 main running projects that you guys are running: Sustainable Coastlines, Love Your Coast, Love Your Waters, and Litter Intelligence. Could you briefly describe the 3 of them? Yeah,
absolutely. So we started with Love Your Coast, and as I said, beach cleanups were sort of how we're still known for running large, fun, adventurous beach cleanups to some extent, but that was where we started. It was around cleaning up the beach, engaging lots of people in a really fun, adventurous outdoor activity. And we expanded that program really quickly after we started into education. So education around marine litter, around the challenges of that, what that causes, and then also predominantly around solutions, how do we solve that issue. So that's Love Your Coast, beach cleanups and litter prevention education. And then Love Your Water, we decided pretty soon after we started that you can't really clean up the beaches without looking upstream, without looking into the rivers that are transporting waste and other things that are toxic for our oceans downstream. So we needed to work on our waterways, and Love Your Water was the program we came up with for that. Love Your Water is primarily about planting trees alongside our waterways, so riparian tree planting, and those trees help to protect those waterways, clean up the water in them, prevent some of the toxins that are going into the waterway from going in there. And same with Love Your Coast, we decided we needed education alongside that. So education on how we restore freshwater ecosystem. Over the years, we had been collecting a lot of data on what the state of our oceans are, how much rubbish we're finding on our beaches, and some basic data on trees planted alongside waterways. But we realized really quickly that we needed more scientific evidence, more of the what is the problem and how can we solve it for our coastlines work. And so we came up with a program around 3 years ago now called Litter Intelligence.
Litter Intelligence.
And Litter Intelligence is really about understanding more deeply, much more deeply, the data behind what is the problem on our beaches, what are the main products and materials that are polluting our beaches, how does that change over time, how does that change depending on whether you're in a city or in a rural environment, how does that change as you head around the country. And then because we know what those materials and products are, how can we, what are the insights we can gain into solving that problem? So how can we inspire people to solve that problem at their local issue? If they find that cigarette butts are the worst problem in their area, what can they do to solve that? If they find that plastic bags or plastic water bottles are the main issue in their area, what would they do to solve that? And we also provide a lot of recommendations on actions to take. So we've got an action platform alongside Litter Intelligence, which allows people to go all the way from data to insights about that problem to action. So it's really a scientific project, but that allows communities as what are called citizen scientists to engage with the problem and the solution.
And back to what you just said, citizen science, I'm wondering, what does that entail exactly? And in this program of Litter Intelligence, and also what would be, does that mean that you're using people, again, these communities, in order to gather this data and to upload it maybe to a platform or whatever, and to sort of engage them actively and directly?
Yes, it does. So citizen scientists in this context, and more broadly, citizen science is about communities being able to participate in science. It often gets called participatory science or community science. Effectively, it's science, but delivered by people who don't have necessarily high levels of scientific training or education. And what that means in this context is we provide training. That's our mission, enabling others. Training for community groups, and that might be a surf lifesaving club, it might be a scout group. And effectively, what we do is we train those community groups to survey their beach in a scientific count the items in each category, and they weigh each category. And then we have a technology platform at litterintelligence.org, and they use an app to upload the data to that database, and that then forms part of New Zealand's first beach litter database. So it's a national resource for environmental reporting, but it's contributed to only by citizen scientists. It's a really groundbreaking project.
So congratulations for that also.
Thank you.
It sounds very good, and I actually was part of it also in one of the beach cleanups in Wellington, and I went through all the process, and it's really recommended. So if you guys ever have the chance to participate, make sure you do that.
Check it out at litterintelligence.org, and you can browse the data that have been collected so far. So far I think we have 133 beaches around Aotearoa, New Zealand. I think there's 3 beaches in Samoa in the Pacific Islands that are surveyed as well, and we have around 450 surveys that have been submitted so far by citizen scientists. So
that sounds
it's a big project, and it's only just started, so it's getting bigger and bigger.
That's very good. Camden, you've probably heard it a lot of times. How can the general public or me as an individual become part of the solution rather than thinking negatively? Well, plastic pollution is so big. It's just not worth it to do anything. I really want to hear your view or your point of view on that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important, firstly, to realize that every step you make, every positive step you make, is better than doing nothing. So I think a lot of people in the environmental space, they tend to beat themselves up or become a bit negative about the situation because they're not doing everything perfectly. And I think it's really, really important to realize, for viewers out there to realize, that whatever you do, one step better is much better than doing nothing. They say start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And that's really, really important to know. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to try to be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today.
Yes.
And so I think that's one way to not get stuck in a negative cycle of going, it's all too hard and it's all too big. Things like the plastic bag ban that came about recently, only last year, July last year, that was implemented, that actually came from individuals first. It was a government ban, but it came because consumers had that push. They told the supermarkets that they didn't want plastic bags anymore, and the supermarkets then put in their own voluntary bans, and then after that the government put in the official ban. So as a consumer, we can tell businesses what we want and what we don't want by paying for the things we want and not paying for the things we don't want. So small steps every day, and we'll get there.
That's also known probably in a bit more scientific way, the bottom-up approach, right?
Yeah.
Starting from we as persons and really pushing towards new solutions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Camden, we had a question from one of our followers on Instagram, and they told us, what happens with all this litter? So you do this beach cleanup, you do the litter intelligence, you weigh the products, what happens next?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So thanks for that. And we actually get asked this question quite often because people rightly want to know. Over the years, since 2009, we've picked up 1.6 million litres of litter from our coastlines. That's a huge, huge amount. And so where does that go? People want to know. It's not on the beach anymore. Where is it? What the ideal situation would be that has all been perfectly recycled and turned back into new products which are no longer leaking into the environment.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the reality is that once you've had litter reach the marine environment, or perhaps it's gone through mangroves or waterway systems, it becomes very, very low value for recycling.
Yes.
And so we always talk about the fact that it's far, far, far better to prevent this from getting there in the first place than deal with it at the end of the line, because unfortunately at the end of the line, recycling can't save us there.
No.
The litter is in often such a poor quality that it isn't very useful for many things. Predominantly, the litter that we find during beach cleanups goes into landfill. And so I'd like to say that there's a more perfect solution than that, but unfortunately, that's the reality.
That's the reality.
Consuming the plastic that we do and letting it get into our marine environment does mean that there's an end result of that. Picking it up off the beach and into the landfill is much better than it being in that marine environment.
Camden, thank you very much for your time. If you want to mention some of the social media, website, articles, or...
Yeah, for sure. We've got a lot of presence on the web, so check out sustainablecoastlines.org. If you want to learn a bit more about these issues that we're talking about, go to Get Involved, and there's an Explore Resources page. If you are in Aotearoa, New Zealand, then check out our events. We've got a lot of events coming up. We've got, over the winter, we typically have a lot of tree planting events. Over the summer, we have a lot of beach cleanup events. And we also have training sessions and engagement sessions for our litter intelligence program as well. If you do want to check out litter intelligence, just head to litterintelligence.org. You can check out the data there. You can sign up as an expression of interest to be either an educator or a citizen scientist. And we'll reach out to you and organize some training. So, we love to work with anyone and everyone. We'd love to see you at our events, and we'd love to see you again. So check us out there, and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, we're on all of those as well. So check us out.
Sounds good. You won't regret it. As I said before, I did one beach cleanup and it was a very good experience. So, plus I learned a lot. So, Camden, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best with the work that you guys are doing, and hopefully we'll meet next time speaking about the next steps of Sustainable Coastline.
Great to meet you too. Great to have you in Aotearoa, New Zealand.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye.